Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Air Force's Global Classroom. I'm Michaela McCurry, a member of the outreach team here at the Air Force Culture and Language Center, and your host for today. The one staple program of the AFCLC that has been a force multiplier throughout the Air Force and the Department of Defense is the Language Enabled Airman Program, or LEAP. We are honored to have with us today the Air War College Commandant, Brigadier General William Freeman, and Bengali LEAP scholar, Major Mustafa Sakib, to discuss the importance and impact of LEAP as a force multiplier. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Michaela. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Michaela.
Absolutely. So General Freeman, let's start with you. As the Commandant of Air War College, can you tell us why having airmen with language, regional expertise, and culture skills is important for the Air War College and the United States Air Force missions?
Yeah, Michaela, absolutely. Really, the Department of the Air Force seeks to strengthen international relationships and work with our partners to build shared air and space capabilities and capacity. We need these airmen with these language, regional expertise, and culture skills to accomplish this. We also need airmen skilled in the cultures and languages of our adversaries. The culture and the language of our adversaries offers incredible insight into their decision-making. Through superiority and decision speed, we are able to make our adversaries reactive to us rather than the opposite. Also, our global network of alliances and partnerships is a key strategic advantage that we must maintain in the high-end fight. We can't stay connected and continue to strengthen relationships with our allies and partners if we don't understand them. To win and to dominate an operational tempo, people must be as interoperable as platforms. And as you know, the United States doesn't fight alone, nor do we deter alone. Deep, enduring relationships with allies and partners are what allows us to succeed and distinguish us from our competitors. We need airmen who can facilitate these relationships and help build new ones for an enduring advantage.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of going off of that, what role do you see LEAP playing to help fulfill requirements set forth in the National Defense Strategy and the National Security Strategy?
Yeah, the National Defense Strategy really advances U.S. national security through three primary ways: integrated deterrence, campaigning, and building enduring advantages. LEAP supports all three areas and is critical for integration at every level. So for integrated deterrence, our LEAP scholars have a unique skill set that gives them a heightened sense of understanding of our partners and allies for seamless integration, as well as our adversaries to deter aggression. If we can seamlessly operate with allies and partners, think about how much more credibility from so many more locations can build mass that is certain to confound all adversary calculations. For campaigning, our successful campaigning requires seamless integration with allies and partners who trust us and are willing to partner with us to deter our adversaries. LEAP scholars help build that trust by connecting with our allies and partners on a deeper, more familial level with their primary language and culture. And then for building enduring advantages, really it's the building, strengthening, and maintaining strategic relationships with our allies and partners that allows us to develop, combine, and coordinate our strengths for maximum effect. LEAP provides strenuous education and training to language-enabled airmen to prepare them for integration with allies and partners and utilization in key missions and exercises that build those enduring relationships. The National Security Strategy discusses an overall goal of building the strongest and broadest possible coalition of nations that seek to cooperate with each other while competing with adversaries who threaten our interests. The coalition cannot happen without service members equipped with these LREC skills to understand and connect with partner nations.
Thank you so much for that insight, sir. So General Freeman, or Major Sakib, can you, you're one of the 3,400 Airmen and Guardians who is currently enrolled in LEAP. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the program thus far?
Yes, absolutely. So when, I'll just go back a little bit. So when LEAP came out, we received an email. It was very beginning. I think it was in 2014 is when I saw an email. I'm not sure when actually LEAP got stood up, but there was an email and it was asking for volunteers, and I did not know any single person at that time that was part of LEAP. So there are a lot of questions, but the LEAP program had done an outstanding job answering a lot of those questions at that time. And then before I signed up, so basically I was actually born in another country called Bangladesh, and I speak Bengali, and it is the sixth largest spoken language in the world. And so I thought, I've actually made myself available to serve this country, and maybe I could just extend that in the arena of language and culture. And so I signed up for it. But before I signed up for it, my O6 actually came to my office and he sat down with me and he said, Sakib, are you sure? Is this something you want to do? And do you know what is expected of you? And he walked me through that there might be a possibility of me getting deployed. At DoD's needs, they may actually call me to translate stuff. And I might have to work in embassies, but also I may have a lot of opportunities to learn or I guess sharpen my language skill at other countries. So there are some opportunities there too. So we discussed the pro and cons, but overall I was in and I signed up for it. And it had been great so far. There was one time when I got deployed, and I think we can talk about that later. But as part of being LEAP, I had to take some refresher courses, which really helped me with my Bengali skills because when I joined, you have the formal language, but you also have the the everyday language that you use. So I had to learn the formal piece of the language a little bit. And then I also had a couple of opportunities to go overseas for a couple of months at a time to hone my skills there. Unfortunately, due to my work and personal schedules, that did not happen, but the opportunity is there if anybody wanted to do it. So I think it's a great program if anybody is interested to do it. And it's just another way for you, if you're interested, to extend your service to not only just the Air Force, but at the DoD level.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us, sir. So General Freeman, you've actually had several experiences utilizing LEAP scholars in both your current and previous positions for critical language support during missions. And you actually utilized Major Sakib for a crisis event back in one of your previous roles. Can you talk to us about that experience?
Absolutely. And this is just one of hundreds of stories of how we've utilized LEAP scholars in an operational setting in many crises around the world. Most recently, of course, with Ukraine as well. But for this specific example, it was back in July of 2016. I was an operational group commander serving in Japan. A terrorist had attacked a bakery in July in Dhaka, Bangladesh. And the attack resulted in the death of 29 civilians and several hostages were taken. So a very dynamic environment. My 2-star boss, who was actually located back in Hawaii, requested support. They needed a 3-3 Bengali speaker who could deploy immediately. Looked at the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, who could find somebody. And we found Major Sakib in the LEAP database. He was at that time serving as an executive officer at LA Air Station, and his boss enthusiastically supported this extreme short notice deployment on the 4th of July weekend. I think Friday, it was July 1st when he actually launched on Friday night and he arrived in Dhaka the next day. Major Sakib's support was absolutely critical to both the U.S. and government of Bangladesh's mission to thwart any additional attacks and track down those who were responsible for this attack. Thank you.
Wow, that's an amazing experience. And it really goes to show how our LEAP scholars are trained to be able to be utilizing those missions at any point in time. They're always prepared and trained for those. So Major Sakib, how was that experience for you?
It was a great experience that you don't usually get on a nominal basis. So the general is absolutely correct. So just to elaborate on that, so it was actually the month of Ramadan, and I was actually fasting that day. It was the last 10 days of Ramadan, and it was a Friday, and we had a family day because Monday was the 4th of July, and when you have a holiday on Monday, sometimes we get Fridays off as a family day. So I was actually taking a nap. I was tired. I was fasting. I was taking a nap, and I woke up at 4 p.m. and I saw a missed call from my boss, and he usually, when I saw a missed call, I was like, okay, something must, it's probably important. So I immediately called him back, and he picked up the phone and he says, Sakib, they're actually trying to get a hold of you. You're likely going to be deployed. I need you to call this number immediately. And he's an SES, but he's a retired 06, and he is as gung-ho as you can think of. So I immediately hung up the phone. I called that, or actually I was standing by for another call. He said, stand by, somebody's going to give you a call. And sure enough, somebody gave me a call, and I picked up the phone, and it was a captain, and I was a captain at the time, and he was a captain from Kadena Air Force Station or base. I'm not sure what this is, but it's in Japan. And he said, is this Major Sakib or Captain Sakib? I said, yes. And he says, like, okay, we have a real world situation, and we need your help. So it started from there. It was pretty exciting. I'm an acquisition officer. I'm an engineer by trade, and I do program management. And I guess this is a very operational experience that we don't usually get, and I was extremely thrilled to have that. And then sure enough, I was deployed. When I landed in Bangladesh, I essentially worked out of the embassy there, and I helped a couple of other agencies to help with the investigation and translation. So it's pretty good knowing that sometimes you have skills that you don't even know that the Air Force might actually need, and then you sign up for it, and then you end up helping the mission, and it was just an amazing, wonderful experience, in my opinion.
Wow. Yeah, that's a true testament to just being able to be part of the LEAP program and being accessible to mission needs when required. So thank you for sharing that with us. So General Freeman, how can other commanders and leaders in the military and DoD incorporate language and culture skills into their operations as a force multiplier in a similar way that you did in this previous mission that you discussed?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's about providing your airmen with the resources, the education, and the training to invest in enhancing their language, regional expertise, and culture skills. The Air Force Cultural and Language Center offers several resources through its Culture Guide app, as well as their CCAF courses, pre-deployment courses for senior leaders, and an annual professional development forum known as the Air University LREC Symposium. I also think it's worth mentioning that the process I use is now automated through the AFCLC's Leader platform and codified as a process in the recently released AFI 36-4005. Requesting support from LEAP scholars for your operations is as simple as visiting the AFCLC website and filling out the short training partnership request digital form, or just give them a call. AFCLC will match the best talent to your request based on your needs. And I think lastly, it's about empowering your airmen. I mean, they can make a difference, just like Sakib did in Bangladesh, and really do great things, not only for Team America, but for our allies and partners as well.
Thank you for that, sir. Before we sign off today, we wanted to just get any last thoughts from both of you. Major Sakib, did you have any last thoughts before we sign off from our audience today?
I would say that we're living in a very different world than we lived in the past. Just yesterday, I think 6 or 7 countries, they came together and they declared that BRICS is a new currency. So there are a lot of political things that are happening, a lot of cultural things that are happening, and everybody's after the US. When you are in first place, it is extremely hard to stay as a first place candidate. So you always have to be on top of your game. And I know we are all serving our country here, but if there's anything that you can do for us to get that edge, please do it. Our society is changing, our culture is changing, but we have to look out for our country. So I would say if you have the skills, or if you don't have the skills, but you want to be part of this, please sign up. I would highly encourage it, because we need to be as versatile as possible in the next couple of decades. Over.
Thank you, sir. General Freeman, did you have any final thoughts to share with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Here at Air War College, we had a lot of great guest speakers, and we had a U.S. ambassador, former U.S. ambassador in 2 different countries in Africa. And, she, provided her remarks for a little over an hour, and at the end was just taking questions and answers, or taking questions from the students. And she, one of the students asked, hey, there's one thing to take away from your presentation, what would it be? And she said, probably 2 things. One, we as Americans, when we go into different countries and engage with our partners and allies, we need to kind of close this and open these and really listen to what our allies and partners need and require from us. And then the second thing is really to understand culture and understand the language. And so I think that really resonates and very applicable to what we have going on over at the Air Force and Cultural and Language Center and for our LEAP scholars as well. I'd also like to encourage everyone to come out for this year's Air University Language, Regional Expertise, and Culture Symposium. It's going to be the 15 through 17 November right here at Maxwell Air Force Base. The theme is going to connect to everything we discussed today, integrated by design. And the speaker lineup is incredible. We're going to have Major General Pettis, who's the 12th Commander of 12th Air Force and Air Force Southern Command. He's going to kick things off. We've got Dr. McFate from the Naval War College, Chief Snyder, who's the Senior Enlisted Leader for U.S. Forces Japan, Major General Retired Suzanne Varys-Lum, who's the President of the East-West Center. And to close it out on Friday, we'll have General Mike Minahan, the Air Mobility Command Commander, who have a great story on integrated by design, especially relevant from the recent exercise Mobility Guardian. And then just from the Air War College front, we're very fortunate to have 48 international officers in our current Air War College class of 218 students. They are fully integrated into our 17 seminars with 3 international officers per seminar and active participants in our daily discussions as we develop them into joint air-minded officers who will lead at the strategic level. Most of these international officers brought their families with them, and they're very active in the local communities, attending our schools, traveling around the country, and really embracing our amazing American culture. Many of their families truly enjoy living here and wish they could stay. So I think a great example of how Team America is winning as we integrate our international partners into our schools here. And then I just like to end with a great news story and announce the winner of the Air Force Language Professional of the Year, who is Technical Sergeant Olga Bujak from the 435th Contingency Response Support Squadron at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. She's an amazing airman who is making a difference. Congrats, Olga. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations to that winner on that award. So before we sign off, we would like to just thank you both again for joining us today for this insightful broadcast that we were able to do to showcase how LEAP is a force multiplier within the total force and the Department of Defense. We'd also like to thank our IT support, Ms. Tayaja Cannon, the Air War College staff who helped us to coordinate this event today, and all of our viewers for tuning in. So join us again next month for another episode of AFCLC TV. And until then, remember, we are AFCLC, the Air Force's Global Classroom.